Do you have a dark feminine archetype? I'm going to share an experience I had with a client in their multidimensional chakra scan in case it helps you on your journey too. We're going to talk about this in different segments because then it'll make more sense. And so I go into their root chakra and they have a different timeline version of them in there from a different incarnation. And there was like some fear running in there, and I looked over and there were some beings that were spooking her, and I said, hey, what are those? And she said they always kind of like follow her around. And I said, okay, well, let me show you how to get them to not do that, okay? And I was explaining it to her, and I said, I'm just a mirror reflection of you. You actually called your own self in here. You just needed an outside perspective, a mirror reflector that had the tools and resources. But I am you, and you are me. You are everything. We'll come back to that in a second. And so I asked her what her greatest fear was, and she said, time. She said, I feel like I'm going to run out. I asked if I could take her somewhere, and she said sure. So I took her above her soul contract, and we were like kind of in space in her Akashic field, and we were looking at all the different timelines. And she said, what is this? And I said, these are all your different incarnations. I said, this is all that you've already lived, all that you will live. Time does not work linearly. I said, you are an infinite being. Time is infinite. And she said, well, I'm worried that I'm only going to have so much time in this experience. And I said, oh yeah, that is true. I said, you're only going to have these specific experiences and perspectives through the lenses of reality that you're looking through right now. I said, if we're constantly looking at the past and the future, that's where time starts to feel very pressurized and it goes a lot faster than you want it to. But if you can stay present in the moment, that is where you start to have a lot more control over your life and your destiny and your reality, and you can quantum manifest from that place. And time starts to work differently when you are staying present. And after explaining all of those things, I asked, do you want to come with me to this person's other chakras? And she was like, no, I want to go live my life right now and be in the present. And I was like, I love that for you. And so she went off on her journey. And then I went into like the other chakras. And what I was noticing was there's a theme of dark feminine energy. And her higher self, the person that I was reading for, was saying that they have been running away from that a lot in their life. And there's a lot of different reasons for that, because it is frowned upon in society and from the patriarchy and just history in general for women specifically to be in this very powerful energy. And I was explaining that there's a difference between divine feminine energy and dark feminine energy, even though they're kind of one and the same. They're different reflections of one another, and they're both equally as important. They just have kind of different characteristic traits. So divine feminine energy is very much empathic, intuitive, flow, ease, grace. Then we have dark feminine energy over here, and that's very creative and passionate and fiery, bold energy, like transformative, transmuting energy. And I said, because of the trauma that you have lived in this incarnation, or maybe multiple incarnations, that has put a filter lens over you where it's saying like, hey, that's a bad thing about you. Okay, we need to steer away from that in order to stay safe in this matrixy reality. And I said, that is what your higher self here with the messages I was giving her was helping you break out of that and see that it's one of your greatest strengths, because your archetype, talking to her, is a sorcerer. And I said, as this specific type of sorcerer, you can actually pull from divine or dark feminine energy, and that is one of your biggest magical traits. And I said it's pulling from a lot of things like the shadow realms, and you've probably been triggering people a lot in your life because you're making them face their shadows, and you're not on the train of injustices, right? You're like, hey, we're not going to have these oppressive things either with individuals or the collective or, you know, your family and friends. And I said, sometimes when you have that really strong energy field, it's off-putting to other people, but it's supposed to help you and them level up. After I sent her voice note summary to her, her higher self was like, hey, why don't you go find her a video so she can better understand what that dark feminine energy is and how to tap into it. And so I went and intuitively chose this one, Unlocking the Power of Dark Feminine Energy, Unleash Your Inner Goddess. Jalen does a immaculate job of explaining what that archetype is and how to embody that energy. Highly recommend checking this out. You can find it on Tube. And the really funny and synchronistic thing is that after in her voice note summary, I had told her, hey, you have sorcerer magic, which sorcerer magic and dark feminine energy two different things but can co-insect with one another and power each other up. And so at the end of this video, her last sentence is, "You are a sorcerer." And I was saying that finding representors of people that have this type of energy, whether it's in our reality or goddesses and deities, can help you embody those things. So maybe like Rihanna would be a great example of that, or on the other side, Kali or Hecate. A lot of people say her name differently, but finding people that embody those energetics can help unlock those things within your own soul contract. And if you would like your own multidimensional chakra scan, there's a lot of different things that come up while we're doing this. They're different for everybody. It can be inner child healing, trauma awareness, DNA activation, spiritual gift activations, past life, different timelines that come forward, things to do for your physical body. You can go to my profile and click, or you can check the comments or the description box here below. I would love to hear if this message resonated with you, if you feel that you have a dark feminine archetype, or if that's an energy that you like to connect to, or if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments as well.